Hi and welcome back to my channel. So my name is Beth and I'm a seamstress and freelance knitwear designer. So I typically make like long content form vlogs, like 2 weeks, and if you've been following along to any of the last ones, you'll know that I've been working on this particular cardigan for quite a few weeks now. So the yarn brand Owning really kindly reached out to me and sent me some of their yarn to try out. It's the number one, so it's merino and angora. I don't have to actually say anything about their yarn, they literally just sent me it to try, but I will say I do love it, and I have literally just casted off the second sleeve. So this is my own design using their wool. So it's this cardigan and I have blocked everything but the second sleeve, so I guess I'll put it on and then you can kind of see what it looks like. So yeah, at the end of my last vlog, if you watched it, I was literally finishing this sleeve. So as you can kind of see, like, this is the one that's blocked and this one isn't. So the cuff is like a lot tighter, and I think you can sort of see here, like, this bit still has the roll and this bit's like much flatter. But yeah, this is what the front of it looks like, and I've just used these little flower button things from Hobbycraft, but they're really nice. They're like actually metal. It's got like this double folded collar, and yeah, it's all 2x2 rib for like the finishings. I'm gonna take this off because it's really hot. But yeah, this yarn is literally like the softest thing I've ever felt in my life, although I don't know if you can see, it is very fluffy. It does come off on everything, but this, like, I don't know how well you can actually see on camera, like this halo, I've not held this with a mohair or anything. This is just held in like just one strand of the number one wool, which is why it's taken me so long, because I've knit this whole thing on 4mm needles and I have never knit anything this small before by hand. The only time really has been on my knit machine, and I don't know if you count that. But yeah, I literally have just cast off this sleeve. So like I said, obviously the rest of it is blocked, but I do need to now just block this second sleeve. I want to see if I can hold okay, right, you can see the difference so visually here between blocking and not blocking this. So I did stretch this out quite a lot, to be fair, because if you followed along, you know that I was having real stresses with this sleeve design. So I knit a sleeve and it was too wide, and then I knit this sleeve and I was worried it was going to be too small, like towards the cuff end. I don't know, you can probably see here it does have quite a significant like decrease rate, and obviously when I had my first sleeve and it looked like this, I was a little bit concerned, so that's why I blocked everything. But I just need to basically stretch this out and just lay this flat. I think what I'm gonna do is just get like this sleeve and this part of like the torso wet instead of having to re-wet the whole thing, because the rest of it is absolutely fine. I do need to as well sew down on the ends of the collars and obviously weave in the ends, but I am basically using this as a blank canvas because I also got some of the charcoal colour, I think that's what it's called, it's whatever the dark grey is. I should probably say this is like whatever the white or off-white is. I think there's only like one option, but I really want to embroider in some form like big florals over the front of this. So I did do a sample with duplicate stitch and I don't think it works super well. That was probably on me. I have never done it before, so I think I'm going to surface crochet it. But yeah, obviously I'm going to block it first and then do that after. So I just wanted to show this as like a whole finished thing, and then I'll show it again once I have blocked it and basically finished it, but before I've done any of the surface work. But yeah, I will say I'm very proud of this. Like I said, this is all my own design. I feel like as well, like my tension was quite good considering you can kind of see side by side, like this is blocked and this is unblocked. Yeah, considering it's quite like a fine yarn, and obviously where it's like such a cream like light color, I was worried that it would stand out more because you can see the stitches so much. But I'm gonna stop rambling. My plan is to wet this and block this tonight. I need to clean up a bit, and then I'm gonna get back to my other whip, which I guess I'll also quickly show you now. I actually can't believe how like much fluff is on my top just from holding that up. So also in the last video, if you've seen it, we went to Northern Ireland and I took this to work on. So this is a drop shoulder design, also my own design, with these rolled neck sort of, well, rolled edge details. There's one on the bottom as well, and I have pretty much knit a sleeve, but I'm gonna unpick, or like I'm gonna frog the ribbing and make the sleeve longer, because although I can block this longer, I think I do have enough yarn to actually knit it longer. I have these two still attached to the end of this sleeve, and then I think I have another 2 full cakes. So this is the Rowan Island Blend Fine. As you can see, I am holding this double. I think this is meant to be like a fingering weight. However, this is meant to be a DK, but if I hold these next to each other, they are very, very similar in comparison. Like this feels like a very light DK, and this feels like a very like heavy fingering. But yeah, once I've done that, we are gonna have to fix these sleeves and then get working on other things. Really, I am kind of excited to be finishing up with this cardigan because I just have so many other projects in mind that I'm like really excited to get to, and you know, as much as I'm enjoying this, it's slowing me down now. So yeah, we will update with any significant progress on either of these pieces. So it's Thursday night. I think it's the next day from when I filmed the last clip, but I am currently playing Yarn Chicken. I don't know why we say playing Yarn Chicken, because it's not fun and it's stressing me out, but this is where I'm at. So I finished this sleeve and I'm currently just knitting the second sleeve. So the Rowan Island Blend Fine comes in hanks, and I do not have a Swift to wind it up. So I enlisted my younger brother to basically sit with his arms out with the yarn round as I wound it on my yarn winder into cakes. But literally on the last hank, when I like cut the yarn, I had made him sit there and wind about 6 hanks, so this was like the 6th one, and basically I cut through like multiple strands, which was really stressful, and we were sat for ages trying to basically wind like multiple little balls out without it all getting tangled. So this is what I have left of one cake. Like this was a full hank, I have used this was one continuous like strand, and then this is the little piece that I'm currently using. I was getting really stressed out because I was like, oh my god, is this literally all I have left? Like there is no way. I am what, 20, 30, like over 30 rows away from finishing, about 30 rows away from finishing this sleeve, and I was like, oh, there's no way. And what I was gonna do was just basically unpick the cast off of the other sleeve and then attach them, and then like frog back on one side and like knit up on the other side, and then do the ribbing again and whatever, make them even, because I probably could get away with making the other sleeve a little bit shorter and then just blocking it. But I've just looked in the box they're in and I've just found these 2 little bits. So this is obviously significantly longer than this one. I feel like yeah, this is a bit bigger than this little one that I'm using. And then this, I just thought like I won't end up using this because I don't even know, this is probably only like a couple of meters, but I think we're gonna have to incorporate it. Yeah, so I think we might still have to take a little bit off of the other one, but it's not too bad because I did, so for the bottom body rib, I think I can actually just have a look. I did 12 rows of rib, and then I did the stockinette for like the curl on like the, let me just show you, for like this. But then when I did the other sleeve last night, for some reason I thought it was 15, so I just knit the cuff to 15 rows of 1 by 1 and then did the curl. So what I'm thinking is if I'm literally like a little bit off, I can just sacrifice 3 rows of my rib on this side and then just make them both 12 so that they match the body anyway. But that is only going to give me a little bit, so I'm hoping to just get literally as far as I can. But I feel like I'm speed knitting because I'm like really stressed that there's not going to be enough yarn. So yeah, I'm literally like fingers crossed, we'll keep you updated. But I have knit quite a bit of this sleeve tonight. I think I've knit like, I don't know, 30 odd rows of this sleeve. So yeah, I feel like I can knit sleeves pretty quickly. I think as well because these sleeves are quite wide, like obviously I was debating frogging the whole of the first one, making it like having more decreases, and I was like, oh no, I like the wide fit. But now I'm like, I should have done that to save yarn. I had 12 hanks of this to begin with, I believe, and obviously I'm holding it double. So yeah, literally fingers crossed, because I really want this to work out. And this yarn is so like expensive. I got this for half price on Wool Warehouse, but this is still like an £100 jumper. It should have been, well, if you bought this when the yarn was full price, it would have been like 200, which is like a lot, especially for me. Like I don't really splurge on like yarns like this. I normally use like drops and stuff. So yeah, I just don't want this to not be perfect, because to me this is quite expensive. But I'll keep you updated hopefully when I'm less stressed and it all works out. So I'm on the cuff, I'm on the bit of ribbing, also sewed through my finger on the sewing machine at work today, so that's not great. But yeah, literally just attached the last ball, so I'm gonna just keep going, and then if needs be I'll just literally, like I said, take off a couple rows on that sleeve and then level it out. But I'm literally think I'm gonna have no yarn left. So yeah, this is the big ball and then the last little one, so we'll see how far we can go. It got really late the other night, but I actually was able to finish the second sleeve, like thank God. But yeah, this obviously haven't weaved my ends is currently what it's looking like. I am really glad that I actually added more rows, and I think the width is fine now that I can see like the full sleeve. Actually, it's not that wide. I was worried that the cuffs were going to be like humongous, but they're fine. I will show you how much I had left. This was all that I had left at the end of my yarn chicken. So this pretty much used exactly 12 hanks of the Rowan Island blend fine. Obviously I was holding it double, like you'd get way further than this if you just held this single. But I obviously need to block this. If my own cardigan is completely dry, well, I only actually blocked one sleeve of that because the rest is already blocked, but if that's dry, I'm going to take this off and then wash and block this today. So hopefully it'll be dry in a couple of days, and then literally all I've got to do is just weave the ends in. And I always leave the ends until after I have blocked because it's easier, I find it easier if I do need to make any like amendments or anything. You don't have to unpick like the ends that you've weaved in, you can literally just unravel. So all I'm really hoping for with the blocking is obviously flatten out the sleeve pick up, which I feel like is always the case when you, what's this called, do a drop shoulder. And then with the cuffs, like, I don't know if you can see, like, obviously the ribbing does like cinch it like just a smidge, and where the like turn is on the like stockinette like raw edge, I feel like it kind of like flares out a little bit. So I'm literally just gonna block like just like this, so that it's all like level around the edge, if that makes sense. So this is like lengthwise on me. This pretty much sort of is just a like, I guess it's between waist and hip. So yeah, I feel like this looks really funny at this like that angle, but yeah, I'm actually like, I really love this. I did like a bit of a thicker increase point here, and I really love this neckline. I don't know why I loved it. It sort of like goes up into something, so that's the plan. We're gonna be doing this. I don't know, I feel like these are gonna have to be incorporated somewhere into like a scrap project. I've been like collecting all of my like scraps, and I quite like the colour scheme of them all together. Obviously I need to like wind this a little bit, but I can't believe we made it. I'm not even joking, like I got to the rib and like I did the first 5 rows and I was like, oh, okay, like really testing my luck here. And then literally did like the 10 rows and I was like, okay, like we might not make it. Got to 15, and then I had to do like the stockinette, and I was literally like every row I feel like I was knitting like quicker and quicker and quicker, because I was like, I need to know if there's enough, and there was. I have also decided that, so this is a jumper that I knit last year using the Friends Extra Fine Merino from Hobby, and I don't know if like you may have seen on my Instagram if you've come from there last year. So this is the super wash, and I hand washed this last year and blocked it, and it really grew like massively. And when we were in Belfast recently, I was in a yarn shop and I was talking to the lady that worked there about superwash, and she said like you should have put it in the washing machine. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this in the washing machine. The way that I see it is I can't wear this as is anyway, so if I wash it and something goes wrong, I haven't lost anything, because you know, like in a year I literally haven't worn this, and I really love like the sort of cable details that I put into this piece, and I love the eyelets and just like the overall design. I would like to be able to wear this, so I'm thinking of maybe also doing that this weekend. It is Saturday today. I was going to do these things last night, but we had a bit of a spontaneous night out, like hence I'm a bit rough today, but I'm not like hungover, which is actually a miracle considering the state I was in last night. But yeah, so I think I'm also going to put this in the wash, but I might have to wait until after the green, because I don't know where I'm gonna lay it flat when it comes out, if that's blocking. So yeah, we'll see how far I get with this. This might have to be something that I do during the week potentially. God, I'm just like, do you know what as well with this, like there are some changes that I would make with this now. So I used the white for the main colour, and then this is like the olive sort of colour for the green, but I held it with like a pink mohair, and I don't know, I just sort of wish that this was just white. So the way that I see it is, if anything goes wrong with this and I end up having to frog it, unravel it, whatever, I probably would just not hold it with a mohair again. But I do need to write up the pattern for this and give that to Hobby. They've actually been like super like lenient and supportive with me, because when I took this on to start doing this, I then had like a lot of sort of unforeseen circumstances, moving, etc., that meant that I missed the deadline. But they were really like, yeah, just understanding, and they were like, it's fine, we know that these things happen, just like obviously we still want to publish it if you still want to do it. I was like, yeah, definitely, but we need to, I think I graded like a couple of sizes, and then that was as far as I got. And the other problem that I had is that I was writing up the pattern on InDesign, which is an Adobe software that I had with my like uni account, but obviously when I left uni the account's gone, so I've got the file but I don't have, like, I can't use InDesign, so I would also have to write this up again from scratch, which I'm not gonna lie, like, has actually just delayed and delayed and delayed this. But this sort of cabling I am going to reuse because I'm going to make a Raglan cardigan using this sort of eyelet and cable design. So that is one of the things that I'm thinking of casting on next, because obviously now that that one's done we get to start a new project. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to take off my Only cardigan, weave all my ends, etc., and then I need to basically, I'm worried that let me show you the yarn actually, and then this will like make more sense. So I knit that cardigan using Only #1. It was gifted to me, but I don't have to like say anything about it. But so this is what I used for the main colour, and this is what I want to use. This is like the charcoal. It kind of looks black, but it is like a really dark grey for the sort of embroidery details that I'm going to do. But I just suddenly had a panic and I was like, what if it bleeds? So I'm going to do a little test on my gauge swatch for this, and then yeah, basically see if the colour bleeds before I go ahead with actually putting it all over the jumper. So I think I'll probably just block that when I block the green jumper. So I did send back the pink that I got in the Drops alpaca and exchanged it, and this is the colour that I exchanged it for, which I think just suits me like way better than that one did. I do still want to make something in a lighter pink, but not specifically that shade. So obviously this turned up yesterday, so I also am potentially thinking of casting on with this, but I'm not sure. I might swatch for this and then start on the cables. The cardigan I want to do in the Drops Nord. I was going to get it out, but it's right at the back of my cupboard, so I'll show you when we get to that. The only other like current whip that I've got on is also my Granny Square cardigan remake. So I think I said like I'm making this in panels, and then so that basically like my ends are woven in per piece. But yeah, what I'm trying to say, there's a lot of option for things to start, but I think the first thing I'm going to do is block, and then I'm going to do some gauge swatches, and then yeah, maybe start a new piece, which is exciting. So obviously we'll take you along as always. So I did a swatch and I started knitting on the start of this cable knit Raglan cardigan, but honestly I'm not loving how I did the German short rows. It's just difficult getting them placed properly, like with the cables, so I think I'm gonna frog this and restart, and then because I want this to have a really thick like neckline, so I think I might put the short rows in the neck instead of in the back yoke, if that makes sense. I also am just not sure that I love the stitch design that I'm doing on it. It's kind of hard to see while it's in this like tiny state, but essentially it's got this like, I think it's called a dot stitch at the back. It's not a seed stitch, it's a little bit different, but yeah, I'm not convinced that I love the placement of it, so I think maybe I'll swap that out for a different stitch. And then these increase points, you can't even see because I literally did it on the last row, but they're gonna have like eyelets running down. So yeah, I think, to be honest, this is just giving me so much ag that I'm just gonna quit while I'm ahead and just start this over. It's the next morning. I did decide to start this over, but I did figure out a way to get the German short rows into the actual cable design. You can see all of my crazy workings out here, but I was having a look online, and the sort of general consensus was if you put the German short rows in the ribbing but they don't go across the increase points, it ultimately doesn't help the fit. You just end up with like more rib at the back than at the front. So yeah, we managed to figure it out. So luckily now it's just pretty much knitting flat. And I did also change this. I'm doing staggered interrupted rib instead of the dot stitch, which I like better. I'm just hoping that obviously as I get further down, you will also be able to see the design more. Obviously you can see the start of the cables. So yeah, just gonna keep working on this. I'm just updating quick before I go out and buy some hair dye, but I don't know if I actually showed this once I weaved in the ends, but I wanted to show it before I did the surface crochet so that you could kind of see what this looks like just as like a plain garment. I'm really actually chuffed with this neckline. So I obviously sewed these bits down. I don't think I did the cast off quite right, but it's on the inside. But yeah, so this is just what it looks like. It's obviously double folded, and yeah, everything is just laying super flat. Like I said, when I knit the second sleeve, I only blocked that because obviously everything else was already blocked, so everything has been blocked once. And yeah, the only ends that I haven't woven in are like inside the sleeve because it just doesn't bother me enough. Maybe I'll do it, but yeah, this is, I think you can kind of see like the drape. This is like a really lovely fabric. But anyway, I also did decide to frog and recast this on. So this is going to be the start of my Raglan cable cardigan, and I think I said in the last clip I was considering not doing German short rows in the pattern and then putting them in the back neck in the rib, but I had a little look online. There honestly wasn't much available to look at for this, but from what I did find, someone said it doesn't make any difference to the fit if you put them in the neck because they don't go over the increase point. So basically your back ribbing just ends up longer than the front, but it doesn't actually do what the German short row is meant to do in the design. So I frogged, and I also wasn't happy with the dot stitch I was using in between, so I've changed to this. I can't remember what this is called. It's like something like staggered rib, and then yeah, found a way to actually incorporate the German short rows into the design. It was honestly a lot of maths because obviously the cables on the back were getting rows put on them, but the cables right at the front weren't. So I had to find where to do the first cable on the back so that when I came to do the cable on the front, it was in the same round, if that makes sense. So chuffed that I figured this out. Honestly, I was pretty hungover yesterday, so like I don't think my brain was like working at full capacity. But the increases I'm doing is eyelets. I think you can kind of see there. I feel like this is the sort of thing that's gonna like really like block out. And then so if you can imagine, like this is the back portion. I really haven't done that much of it yet, so like it is sort of hard to see, but this is what she's looking like. I normally, when I do the neck measurements for my Raglans, I normally go for 17 inches if that's where I want the top of the rib to be. But on this one I went for 24 because I'm going to put the rib on after, plus I want quite a thick collar. And I found that like with this, I did the neckline quite small originally, so when I put the rib on, it is quite small. Like, it's wearable, but it's definitely a bit tighter, and I didn't want this to be so like up in here. So yeah, I decided to do like a bigger circumference, and then obviously this will have like a button band at the front. So obviously after this is quite big as is, but then after I block it, I'm assuming this is going to get even wider. But obviously, like, yeah, the rib does cinch quite a lot. I'm also thinking of maybe doing a double knit button band for this instead of rib down the front, just because it's something that I haven't done before, and I like to try new techniques, and I think it will look quite nice with the cables, because the rib at the front won't sort of take away too much from the design. But I haven't decided what I'm going to do on the neck, the bottom, and on the cuffs. But yeah, I much prefer this stitch to the one that I was doing, and I was considering like completely omitting this part anyway. The problem is, obviously, where it's a cardigan, I was thinking of having like a specific cable design running down the back and down the middles of my sleeves, but I wouldn't have got it at the front, and it was weird trying to work out the stitch counts, because obviously cables are a specific amount of stitches, and it just wasn't going to be even on the front. So that's why I decided to do a stitch like this. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it makes sense in my head, because on either side of the front I have about 2 stitches before it's then level with the back from where the rib is. I don't know, this makes no sense to explain, but I'm happy with this. This is Drop Snored, by the way, which is a sock yarn, so we shall see how this turns out. I also just got this book delivered. It's basically all about grading knitwear patterns. It's written by 2 tech editors, and I really want to start writing my knit patterns up. And I do know how to grade, obviously, because I did a fashion design degree, but I just think this is really interesting. Like, it gives you a lot of sort of average measurements per size for like women, men, kids, infants, whatever. And it's just basically like a huge Q&A of what to do, how to do gauge, how to grade all your sizes properly. So I'm excited to properly sit down and give this a look, but I need to go because I need to go and get some hair dye, and Ovs will update on those with any progress that I make. It's Tuesday after work currently, and I didn't actually do really anything after work yesterday because I was busy, but I just wanted to update quickly on a couple of things. So this is where I'm at with this new Raglan cardigan design. I pretty much did all of this Sunday evening, apart from literally 2 rows. So obviously this is gonna be like this. I honestly, like, I did a gauge swatch, but I don't know how much bigger this is gonna get after blocking. But yeah, I guess this is like my main sort of new cast on. So it's got like these big cables, obviously, that run down the front and back. They're like, it's like completely symmetrical, and then where the increase points are, I've done them as eyelets. You can kind of see here, and then they just come down, and then these little bits are going to be smaller cables. This, I can't remember exactly what this stitch is called. I think it's called like disrupted rib or something, but yeah, obviously swapped out the dot stitch for that. So it's got obviously this bit on the back and on the sleeves, and then like on the front either side of where the button band's gonna be, it's also just got like a little bit there. So when I put the button band on, it should like exactly match, like in line with the back. But yeah, this is Drop Snored. I think I said held double. I haven't used this yarn before, but it actually feels pretty nice. It's wool and alpaca, obviously it is a sock yarn, but I thought maybe it'll be a bit more hard wearing, because I think it's got some sort of like either nylon or polyamide. I might be wrong, but like typically sock yarns do. But yeah, I'm really liking how this is working up so far, and it's kind of fun to do after like working on stockinette projects. So the next one, I can't remember if I filmed a clip of this or not. I'm currently doing the surface crochet, I don't even know how's best to hold this, on this cardigan. So I'm basically gonna essentially embroider lilies with surface crochet, and I really need to get myself to work on this because I told myself it would be finished in this video. And I don't just want to leave it with just these little bits to do left, like that does just seem a bit silly. But yeah, I'm also using the only #1 to do this embroidery just in there. This is the charcoal grey. Yeah, you can see it better there. I feel like when I hold it back it looks black, but like it is like grey, kind of speckly. But I feel like the grey is like a tiny bit thicker than the cream. I don't know, I might be wrong. And then lastly, on my lunch breaks, I have been seaming together panels for my granny square cardigan remake. So this is what she is looking like currently. Not really much of anything, to be honest, but yeah, I obviously need to weave my ends for these bits. And this is the drops alpaca and kid silk mohair, holding one strand of each. But like, oh my god, I was literally dying on my lunch break because this is obviously like so warm, and I had it like across my lap, and yeah, it's a struggle right now. It is literally like 30 degrees, which is not the sort of weather that we usually get, especially like being a seamstress. Like obviously we have like the industrial irons and stuff, and yeah, it's roasting, and it's also getting really hot in here. So I need to get showered, change my bed, like all that fun stuff. But yeah, I will obviously keep updating. I don't know what I'm gonna work on tonight yet. It'll be one of these three. These are my like main whips at the minute. It's Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday, and I've literally just taken this off of the blocking mats. It's been so hot here. This literally dried like, I don't know, maybe a couple days, but this was like sopping wet when I put this down. Like I don't think that I squeezed enough out in the towel, but yeah, this is what it's looking like. I guess I'll stand up. I don't know how I'm gonna be able to show this. So like the sleeves come to almost like, I guess, knuckle length now, and then the body sits like pretty much on my hips. Obviously these have like flattened out like I thought. So yeah, happy with this yarn as well. It's the Rowan Island Blend Fine, and I held it double. It's really nice. Like it's not really soft or anything like that, but it's like not itchy at all. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, you know when you wear like an old like sweatshirt sort of jumper, like jersey, and it's not brand new, so it's not super soft, but it's not like really rough or anything either. That's kind of what this feels like, especially after blocking. I feel like it has softened up a little bit, even though it wasn't rough to begin with. It's really weird, but I wasn't sure how this was going to block because obviously I did a gauge swatch for stitches, but I didn't wash and block it. But I'm actually really happy with how this turned out. I don't even know if you can see. I did do sleeve decreases, but it's still quite wide, which is nice. Like this just feels like oversized and cozy, and yeah, it's definitely really flattened out from blocking. But yeah, I'm happy with this. There's literally nothing interesting really about this apart from maybe the rolled edge, but I think as well the 1x1 rib has really like separated, if that makes sense. I feel like 1x1 rib before you block it always just looks quite like thick. You can't always see the purl stitches. I don't know if that like actually makes any sense apart from in my head, but she is cute, and I'm glad that she is fully done and I don't have to actually make any amendments. I wasn't sure on like lengths of things like sleeves and that, but yeah, I think this is fine. And this literally used exactly 12 skeins. I think I showed how much I had left of it, and it was not a lot. I was like fighting for my life playing yarn chicken on the second sleeve. But it's fine. And then I thought like, oh, what if the body's too short? But the body's definitely gotten longer as well. I think it's maybe got like a little bit wider, but It's just sort of like a nice bagginess, I guess. I don't know, maybe I'm just waffling, but yeah, this is done. I just need to weave in the ends. I've also made quite good progress on this. So like, these are one seam away from being back panel, and then I've got the two front. So I think, yeah, I need to make some progress on this. But the other thing, so obviously this, I don't know whether to mid-block this just to see how wide it's gonna get. God, it's actually so hot in here. I need to take this off in a minute, but yeah, this is what it's looking like currently. But yeah, I don't know whether to mid-block or not. I've finished, I'm holding this double as well, this is Drop Snord. This, I've just finished 2 full balls, and I've just literally joined the second 2 to either, like the second to either strand, if that makes sense. But yeah, I just, what I'm trying to figure out is where the neckline's gonna sit and how much it's gonna grow, because obviously the cables are gonna open up, and like, I've got these like row of like 1 knit stitch in between each design. So it's like cable, knit stitch, eyelets, knit stitch, cable, and then like, you know, so on and so forth, whatever. And so it's sort of acting like rib, and I'm not sure how much it's going to open up when it comes into contact with water. So I don't know whether to put all of these stitches on hold and block this and then work on that one for the next couple of days, but we shall see. I really need to make my mind up in like the next 10 minutes, to be fair, but as per will OVS update. Yeah, I think this is looking cute. Like, now obviously there's more to it, you can actually see what is going on in this design. I think, yeah, can sort of see it a bit better with the eyelets and everything and these little cables.
Incidents. What would you say to those campaigners that are featuring in our program?
My room is really horribly messy now. It's the same day as that last clip, but I mid-blocked my cables cardi. Sorry, I just realised that the thing was wonky. I'm mid-blocking the cables Raglan, so this seemed like the most sensible thing to work on, and you wouldn't think it, but I have sewed in most of the ends. It's just the seaming ends, but like I said, I don't want to go too much into detail of like how I'm making this, because I do sort of want to write a pattern. But this is what it looks like in the alpaca and mohair so far. I think for this one I'm gonna do a ribbed collar button stand, ribbed, okay, I know it was ribbed, knit, ribbed button band, collar, bottom, etc., just for like a little bit of option, I guess, and variation. So this is single crochet in the back loop, pretty standard like crochet rib. This is knit in acrylic. This is obviously the alpaca and mohair. I will say this is for sure like a bit flimsier. I'm a little bit concerned that this might stretch with the weight of it, but I'm kind of hoping that the knit in the like edges is gonna sort of hold it up a bit, because I do find like with knit necklines, when you put the rib on, it does just sort of hold it in place like a little bit better, and it does make it a bit smaller. So yeah, that is the next step for this. I'm going to do it all in grey. I honestly have been in the trenches, just like after I said I was going to weave in all my ends as I went along, I didn't. So I thought I really have got to do that at this point, because otherwise it's going to be too late. So literally the only ends that I've got are like this sort of front panel. I also think I'm gonna potentially make the sleeve one square less, if that makes sense. Again, just for variety's sake, just so it's a bit less flared. I can probably wear it under things a bit easier, like jackets, but we shall see. I'm gonna put the rib on and then decide. I've had to like seam up the sides to where they should be for the first sample so that I can do the bottom rib so that it's all attached, but then worst comes to worst, it's just an extra couple of like crochet stitches that I've got to seam together. Like it's literally such a minimal amount on either side. I just thought I want to get onto the ribbing. The only thing is I need to figure out what needle size to use for the rib of this. I'm thinking of using a 3mm, but we'll see. I also don't know if I'm going to make any changes to the collar. Yeah, I guess update as always. Also, this has just sort of been thrown here, do need to weave the ends in on this guy, but this probably isn't something that I'm going to do tonight. I just honestly can't get over how like uniform this is, and like it's just so nice. I don't know, if you don't block your knits, then block them, is what I'm going to say. But yeah, we shall get going on this. I just, like I said, I just hope it doesn't stretch massively. And like, I do have quite a lot of yarn at this point, like left over. Okay, so this is how, oh, we're shaking. This is how much yarn I have left. Obviously, this is the alpaca and the mohair. I'm low-key hoping that I have silly amounts left over, because then I'll have this grey, this off-white, obviously the grey and the chalk in the mohair, but the drops flora is also the same thickness as the alpaca, plus I've got the dark pink alpaca that I want to make a jumper with, and then obviously I'm using the Nord, which they're all the same. I think it's like recommended like 3mm needles. Is that a fingering or a sport? I don't know, honestly, they're just like the same thing to me. But I'm hoping that like potentially if I have multiple bits from each left, could do like a fun like scrap, like striped, because I quite like the colour scheme of them all together. Saying that, I'm gonna have like jinxed myself now, and I'm literally gonna use like every single ball of yarn that I have. But I think I only have the sleeves left in granny squares to make, plus like obviously if they're in the round, if they're like a square shorter, then that's like 6 less squares than I think than the original sample, so I might have more left over. And if I'm doing the rib in knit and not in crochet, hopefully it will use less yarn. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I've just finished filming this month's podcast. Yeah, god, the heat is like getting to me now. It's Friday, today's my day off. I'm off Saturday, Sunday, so I wanted to make some good progress and finish up some pieces. So I started the embroidery for this. I can't remember if I've already put a clip in. I just don't know if I'm loving it, but I've just put a post on my Instagram story with like a rough sketch of it over the whole front, because that is the plan. And I feel like maybe it looks better when, well, maybe it will look better when there's more going on. But the outside is surface crochet, so like a chain stitch. This is just like stitching with a needle, and these are just some little pearls from, these are just from Hobbycraft, they're just some beads. But yeah, obviously this was the plan, to like sort of go with the little flower buttons. I feel like I should keep going because I think it's interesting and I think it's something a bit different, but also like I don't want to do the whole thing and then have to unpick it, so not sure. I'm also working on this, which again, if you, well, the podcast will be going up before this, so if you've seen that, you'll have seen this. But I've obviously joined together all the body for this and started on the rib, but I don't know if I like the needle size. God, sorry, the windows are open. Don't know if I love the needle size for this. I think I need to stop. I want to make a new set of nails today anyway, so maybe we'll put the knits away and we'll do my nails. I say we, it's just me will be doing my nails. But this is the set I've got on at the minute. Also, I can't remember if it was this video or not, but I said I wanted to try doing press-ons and sticking them with nail glue rather than using UV glue, because I thought it might hold up better with the steam at work because they kept popping off, and these have held up better, and I don't know how to get them off if they're just nail glue and not UV glue. I don't know if I can still soak them off with acetone, but yeah, these literally haven't budged an inch, which I was really surprised at. I thought that they'd have worked better as like gel X extensions, but yeah, the press-ons have held up really well if you're at all interested in nails. So it's actually way later. I did my new set of press-ons. It's got like little ladybugs, strawberries, cherries. They're like sculpted with like picnicky blankets, and then I've just literally finished making this set because I figured out that oh my god, sorry, literally ignore all of this. This is all gel polish. Because I have worked out that these stay on longer. I literally am using like the cheapest nail glue I could find. This one. Yeah, because I figured out this way is better for them to last. And they're way quicker, so like if I was to do this on myself, it would take like double the time, so I can basically make 2 sets of press-ons in the time it takes me to do my nails. So now I'm just basically making, every time I make a set to wear, I'm gonna make a spare pair so that I have something to get changed into, I guess, after like 2 weeks, in case I don't have the time to do them, because doing nails every 2 weeks, like, it is quite time consuming. But yeah, I think they're pretty cute anyway. And then these are just like all blue and green, like star themed. So yeah, I need to clean like all of this crap up. It's the next day, it's Saturday. It's like, I guess 12 o'clock, like lunchtime, but I honestly haven't really been up doing much apart from knitting, so it's still in my PJs. But yesterday I filmed my everything I made in July, and that video is going up first, so if you saw that, then you might have seen some of these pieces. But I have decided that I'm gonna put this in the washing machine, and I was waiting for my cables Raglan to be dried so that my blocking mats were free, basically, because I've only got one set. So in a minute I'm gonna brave putting this in the washing machine, because this grew hugely, like hugely, when I hand washed it. I guess I can put it on so you can see, but I'm not looking on top form. So I did post this on TikTok and Instagram when I washed this last year, I think, but I really like the cables design that I did on this with the eyelets. I think it looks really nice. But I mean, you can even see from here, this is massive on me now. If I stand up, I don't even know how, if you're gonna be able to see the bottom of this. It's humongous. Like, it literally comes down to almost the end of my fingernails, and obviously these are not real. And yeah, the length and everything, the width, she's humongous. So I've been debating for like the longest time what to do with this, because I do really love the design. It's got like obviously 2x2 rib, but I mean, yeah, I've been trying to decide what to do with it. And someone said to me, like someone that works in a yarn shop said to me, you should have put it in the washing machine. So my thought process is, let's just put it in the washing machine, and if anything happens to it, then I don't wear this anyway, and I can reknit this smaller knowing what's going to happen. But yeah, like I said in the podcast, this I was meant to be writing a pattern for hobby, but didn't, because obviously it grew. But if this doesn't shrink, I'll just do this as one of the larger sizes. But if it goes back down to size, then I know that my grading's actually going to be correct. But yeah, I guess just trying to kind of show you what this actually looks like. I really love like the sleeve design I did on this as well. So yeah, this is going to go in the washing machine in a minute, and then I'll obviously update. It'll probably be in the next vlog that I update this, because Saturday, and I tend to do 2 weeks, so like tomorrow's the end, but whatever. Then, so this has actually dried now. So this is sort of using the same sort of design, but a Raglan cardigan. So this, I just put the stitches on like a scrap bit of yarn, and this has been blocking for think maybe like 2 and a bit days. So yeah, it finally dried overnight last night. I was just worried that I had casted on with too many stitches and that it was going to be too wide, because I normally do 17 inches for my neck, but I did this as like 20 something because I wanted the neck rib to be quite a bit bigger. But obviously now it's blocked, I feel like all of the design has opened up pretty nicely as well. So this is what she's looking like. I'm happy to continue with it. Obviously you can see the cable's a bit better. Let me take this off. Yeah, you can see like the cables and like the eyelets have really opened up. It's laying really nice and flat. So I can keep knitting on this now that now that she is dry and I know that the pattern's fine. So the last thing, which is what I've been working on while that's been drying, God, you have to like excuse my hand, bit of a mess today. But yeah, the last thing I've been working on is I've been knitting the rib for this, and I actually did decide to change how I was doing it. So I was originally holding one strand of the alpaca and the mohair, but I've changed to doing 2 strands of the alpaca and 1 of the mohair, just because it was too holey. I think this looks a lot nicer, and it feels like a lot thicker, but this is the inside that I'm showing you. Yeah, this is what it looks on the outside. So yeah, obviously I do want to write a pattern for this, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but I'm knitting this rib on 3mm and it's really hurting my hands, so I'm going to take a break from that, put that in the washing machine and like make some lunch and stuff, and then yeah, maybe start re-knitting on this. I'm not sure yet, or maybe making the granny squares for the sleeves of that jacket. This is fresh out of the washing machine. I don't think that this has changed shape at all. I'm not gonna pin this down, I'm literally just gonna lay it flat to dry. Obviously I've had to fold in the sleeves because the blocking mats are not long enough. But yeah, let me stand up. I don't think that this is gonna get any smaller, unfortunately, so I'll have to update when it's dry. Good evening, it's Sunday. I'm pretty sunburnt, as I'm sure you can tell, but just wanted to finish off the video. So this is how far I've gotten on this Raglan design. This is pretty much what I've been knitting on this weekend, although honestly I haven't done loads. I pretty much napped for the whole day yesterday, and then today have clearly been out in the sun. But this is what she is looking like. So I think I'm literally gonna do like 2 more rows, so like 1 more right side row with increases, and then 1 more, what's it called, 1 more wrong side row, because then I need to do the small cables again and like 1 more eyelet, and then I'm gonna split for sleeves. Obviously I did block the top of this, which I think was definitely a good shout because I think I can see it more clearly. But yeah, I'm actually really happy with how this is turning out, to be fair. I think what I'm gonna do like down the sides and under the arm potentially is like just do more of this disrupted rib stitch, just so that I'm not cabling like literally the whole way around, because especially on the sleeves it becomes really difficult to block, which is why I haven't done one essentially where the stripes are on my top, because obviously when you block it flat, like they're on the like fold edge, so yeah, it's hard to like open them up. So I don't want to give myself that problem on the underarm. So yeah, I think I'm just literally gonna do more disrupted rib. But yeah, glad on my progress on this one. But as always, thank you for watching. There's people outside the window, but yeah, thanks for watching. Obviously if you enjoyed, make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm on, oh my god, I'm on Instagram with the same name, Fashion by Beth, and yeah, I'll be literally about to start the start of the next vlog where I will be continuing this plus the other projects that you've seen in this video. So yeah, thanks and goodbye.